Hey, y'all. On today's podcast, we help Jennifer scale her yoga business online.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Really excited about today's guest because this is going to be an interesting show. You know, we've been talking a lot on the podcast about different ways to live the flipped lifestyle, different ways to take control of your life, to be able to make your own money, to become and stay self-employed, offline, online, work from home, work in your office, wherever it may be. And this episode is going to fall squarely in the middle of every one of those possibilities because we have someone that has flipped their life through their brick and mortar business, but now they want to scale it online. And there's all kinds of, we're at a fork in the road and there's 47 prongs on the fork. So we're going to dig into this a little bit today and see if we can make sense out of it. We want to welcome Flip Your Life member Jennifer Dixon to the show.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
We are very, very happy to talk to you today. Jennifer is one of our more active members. We see her over and over again on member calls.
Asks amazing questions. And I was telling her off air before we started the show, set a new world record for amount typed into the podcast intake form. I mean, we're talking some multiple paragraphs here, folks. I mean, it was impressive. It was very impressive.
Okay, so let's just end this podcast now, and maybe you should write a novel.
It's prolific. That's it. That's right. You just write a book, and it'll be so prolific that no one will be able to help appreciate it.
Like, podcast done. That is like a record.
Right, that's a record. We'll see y'all next week. Right. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So first of all, before we get started, tell us about your background, how you ended up, doing what you do now in your brick and mortar business, right?
Sure.
And then maybe a little bit about how you found us, and then we'll jump from there.
Okay. So y'all can tell me to speed it up or slow it down because as you can tell, I'm not great at brevity. That might be the Southern roots. I don't know. We just go slow.
We'll edit you out.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. So I got into yoga about 10 years ago. I was really active in running. I was training for a marathon at the Disney Marathon, actually, with my sister and doing CrossFit at the time. And I herniated a disc in my low back. And I went from being able to, sling weights around and run for hours on end, which I used to love to do, to like basically being bedridden. I went through 8 rounds of 4 epidural shots in my back. I wasn't even 30 at the time. And that the next step really was surgery is what the doctor had said. And I was not willing to do that. My dad's had back surgery and I am not a huge fan of the ramifications of that. So my boyfriend, now husband at the time, was like, why don't you try yoga? And I was like, yoga's for sissies, and famous last words. And he took me to my very first heated power class. And when I was getting into the studio, I had to use the handles to get out of my car. My back was hurting so bad. And by the time the class was over, I could touch my toes and my back didn't hurt. And ever since then, I basically practiced nearly every single day this will be, I think, my 10th year. And yoga's given me my life back. It's legitimately saved me from living a life full of pain. And that's how I got into it. I got certified right away to teach. I didn't really ever think I was teaching. I had a very, very lucrative career in the energy industry. And I just did yoga and taught yoga on the side because it was fun. And then lo and behold, I got laid off of my very lucrative position. I think you talk about that. There's not really job security when you're working for somebody. And boy, is that not the truth. 2 weeks after coming back to work from having my first child, I was laid off. It was divine providence, though. I know it's totally at God work because my husband was laid off Wednesday. I was laid off 2 days later, Friday.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's when you know God's got his hands into something. And it was funny. They had this box full of tissues on the table and I think they were prepared for this emotional breakdown. And I was like, all right, God, I have no idea what you're doing, but all right, give me my severance. What's my insurance? And then we moved home in 2 weeks. And so I sat around on unemployment for about 6 months, and I interviewed. And at the time I was working 60, 80 plus hours a week, traveling everywhere. And that was really cool before I had a baby. But then once I had a baby and the baby didn't like bottles, she just wanted to nurse, and she lost all this weight in 2 weeks. I didn't want to do that anymore. And I found a yoga studio for sale. And I kind of laughed at first when I first saw it, because I was like, we can't live off of that. And famous last words. And at the end of unemployment, I was like, all right, honey, this is still there. Maybe this is what we should be doing. And my husband, he's a saint. God bless him. I'm so lucky. He's like, whatever you want to do, honey, whatever you want to do. And that was 3 years ago this month. Yep.
Wow. So you basically bought an existing yoga studio that had clients already?
Correct.
And you just kind of picked up and started teaching, and then you grew this into, a way to make a living and kind of control your schedule, control your life. And you've just got this place now, and you've built a community up there, and you have plenty of members and things like that.
Correct. Well, I'm not going to say we have plenty of members. We can always grow, right? I do have a fantastic community. That's the best thing about it, is I have a group of teachers that love to teach, and they love to work and teach for me. And the community, it's unlike any other yoga studio I'd ever been in, but that was kind of the things that I wanted when I took over this studio. Is a lot of times yoga studios are not known for being like Cheers, is the joke that I like to do, where everybody knows your name. And that is exactly what this studio is. You come in, we get to know you. We get to know about your family. We celebrate your successes. It's a very tight-knit community, and I love that part of it.
Sure. And now, but the challenges with the brick and mortar, how big is the area that you live in? Like, how big is the town you live in?
Oh, Chattanooga's, it's pretty good size. I think there's
pretty good size, but you probably have a lot of competition. I'd say there's other yoga studios, lots of gyms, things like that.
Exactly.
So the problem with brick and mortar is sometimes you hit up against like geographic boundaries of how many clients you can have, and things like, and there's a lot of overhead, I would assume, in something like that, correct? Like you said, coaches on staff and things like that. So did that lead you to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe there's another way to, make money online? Or like, what got you into thinking about like online business?
I was thinking about trying to come up with another peg of income. You've got to have multiple pegs if you're doing this on your own. And my two pegs, I do teacher training and the yoga studio, that wasn't quite, we were still, struggling to create margin in our lives. And I was listening to another podcast where you guys were on, and y'all, I think it's hilarious because you talk bad about your accent, but I love it because it just sounds like home to me. And we're just a few hours. I'm just a few hours.
I need to put that on a T-shirt. Shane and Jocelyn sound like home to you.
Yeah, you'll sound like home. It just, I don't know. It just sounded like my people. And I immediately signed up for your podcast after listening to that one, and kind of listened to it. And then one day, I guess it was funny because I've never thought of my life being flipped. It was a Friday. I was at the zoo. I can't remember if my son must have been born. I'm not sure if it was when I was pregnant or when he was born, but I'm pretty sure he was new. I was at the zoo with my daughter, and you sent out an email about asking for a question or something. And here we were looking at the chimpanzees. My daughters were making monkey noises, and I send you an email, and you responded right away. And I was like, holy cow, that's pretty cool.
Shane and Jocelyn actually talk to people. That's a miracle, right?
Yeah. And sometimes we even send a video, like just to make sure people know that it's really
mess
us.
With people, basically. We just like to freak out while they're at the zoo.
I love it. No, I was like, whoa, and I think I signed up. That was a Friday, and I signed up for the membership that Sunday. So that would have been a year ago, actually, really recently. So
there's the first lesson for today's podcast, y'all, is be a real person and actually communicate with your audience, and people will buy your stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true. I signed up like that after the first webinar. I was like, I'm in. I remember
when you came into the community too, because I can remember you are on every single Q&A that we do. And which is
nearly
awesome. Almost. And like, but I remember the first couple of questions you had were basically like, the theme of what we first initially talked about was like, how in the world can something like what I do become an online business? Right. Yeah. Because it's like, it wasn't like about certifying other yoga instructors or anything like that. It was just like, how can we just like make like if you look at a bullseye, you've got a bullseye in the middle. That's kind of where your brick and mortar business lives. And it's like, how can we create circles of income that span out like from that and still do kind of the same thing, right?
Correct.
So what path did you choose to go down? What did you start creating? How did that go? And kind of bring us up to speed where you are now with the online stuff.
Sure. So I got right when I joined the community, I also decided to rebrand the studio because the studio had been around since 2010 and it had a different brand and I wanted to make it mine. And so this was just what was that, a year ago in the summer was just one heck of a summer. I rebranded, redid a website, all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, shot my very first material for a course, which I was going to put into a membership. And at first I titled it the Mommy Bounce Back Program because my son was about a year. I'm not, and this will go into probably a question later on, I'm not like a typical yoga person. And as long as I'm breastfeeding, I'm going to hold on the last 10, 15 pounds of mama weight. That's just my body. Everybody's different. And I knew that if I marketed to the women that, or at least my thought was, if I marketed to women who had babies either recently or were never able to successfully, get in shape postpartum, then I would look real to them because I was legit there. And so I created, I think it was almost 5 hours of material, different videos, full length videos. And to me, a full length video at the time was a minimum of, I wanted to do an hour. And my dad was the one who was shooting the videos. He was like, maybe you should do a 40-minute one. And in my head, I'm like, no way. And so we did like 130, 140, and then 2 60-minute videos. And then I did a lot of little drills and I put that up I did it in Kajabi at first because that was easy. And I'm not a tech person. And I can't remember. Did I say I sold 5? I think I sold 5.
That's amazing.
I was pumped. I sold 5 and then it was like crickets and it was bad crickets. And then a friend of ours offered to help me market it and all that kind of stuff. And I think I sold 1 more at a really, really discounted price and then nothing. And so I shut down Kajabi because I didn't want that monthly fee. And I just started trying to, like what you guys talk about, be really prolific with my content creation. So in the summer, like right around when I was filming all this, I upped my blog post. I'm posting 3 times a week. I'm writing that stuff 3 times a week. I'm doing live things on Facebook for the studio and for online at least weekly. And then I started doing things on YouTube at least weekly. And then January happened and I was like, man, I'm so tired of living, without margin. So I've got to make this work. I was up really late with my husband dealing with stuff. And I said, honey, we got to make this online stuff work. That's the only way we're really going to, scale if I want to do this. And this is what I want to do. And ever since then, it's just been all the ponies are running.
Right. So basically then, okay. So this is very common. There's people do this. Like, They create the product, they sell something, it's exciting, and then it's like, but we ran out of people to sell something to. So basically you've turned all your energy toward trying to build an audience, right? Like trying to get YouTube subscribers, get followers, get blogs and going on. Let me ask you this, like, is the thing still for sale though? Like are you still selling the thing you created to these new people? Because you've been creating an audience now for 6 months, regardless of how big it gets or is. And like, did you just like stop selling the thing altogether?
Yes, I did. I'm laughing until I forget which one of those, because I signed up for Flip Your Life Live. That was like part of that conversation with my husband. I was like, I got to make this work. I'm going to this training. I know it's a lot of money. We're going to figure out how to do it. And so I don't remember which training it was, Shane, but you really were, you were no sugar Shane, I guess. And you said, if you've got something, put it for sale. And you said Udemy, which I didn't even know about. But like that day after the phone call, or maybe the next day, I had my course back up on Udemy. So it is for sale. It is for sale now. Okay, good. At least it's for sale somewhere. Because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I don't remember where building an audience leads to not selling things to them. Like that was the disconnect that I was finding there. Because like, you made all this content and that's where you got it to go. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. Okay, well, good. Well, that's a good nutshell story. Like there's a lot of people out there that do this. It's there's always a roller coaster. Just a little while ago, we were talking to our accountants and we were looking at like our numbers. Like we meet with them quarterly, right? To see numbers go up and down. And we had a dip in April, right? And it was like totally because of stuff that we had done earlier in the year, like some promotions, we had changed some prices and we had done some things. But our, actual financial check mark dipped that month. And like, it always cracks me up when I talk to people and they're like, wow, you and Jocelyn, just everything goes up and it's perfect forever. And I'm like, no, it goes up and down. Like it is still feast or famine. The membership model that we teach and that we use smooths that out, but it doesn't protect you totally from it. Like
that's just business, right? You know, this for brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else. If you open a store in a town of 100 people and you sell to all the 100 people, you have to go to the next town to find more people. Like, that's just the way it works. And, you know, so many people, though, the problem is they have that, I sold something, and then it dips and they're like, that was a fluke. And then they quit forever. So I do want to like commend you for like doubling down, getting your content going, running it in parallel, figuring out ways that you can use it with your existing business. And really, like, that's what you just got to figure out now is like how to maximize this new audience that you've created. So like how is the audience building going? How is that prolific content creation panning out? Is it going up steadily? Is it spiking? What's happening?
So my blogging I had a brand new website. I think my website's less than a year old. And within 6 months, I was front page for Yoga Chattanooga or Chattanooga Yoga. And then I was within just a couple months after that, I was number one with one of those searches. So I really feel like the blogging has helped get people into my brick and mortar business,
that's interesting.
Which is really great. And when we do our client intake, they say, "Oh yeah, I found you online," and all that. So that's been great. My online video stuff, not so much. I think I have like 138 YouTube followers, and I have a really big family that makes up a large majority.
Well, you know what though? Hey, listen, honestly though, like if you put 130 people in a room, that'd be a lot of people.
It would.
You know what I'm saying? And like, don't discount that. When Jocelyn and I launched our first product, how many people were on your email list? Like
a couple hundred, maybe
like 250, maybe. So like, you're not far off where we were at that to find that tipping point to start making some real money with this. So they're there. You just have to. I bet but the problem is your product is totally geared toward expectant mamas, right? Or like mamas that just had a baby.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. So when I relaunched it on Udemy, I called it, I think I called it, I should have known this, and I'm just having a brain fart. Like Thrive Hit Yoga is what I called it. And high intensity training, yoga inspired high intensity training. And I talk about how it's great for women, especially if you've had kids or even if not. And then all of the content that I've been creating since that course has just been that high intensity training focus. So it's very low impact. I don't jump around. I mean, once you have a herniated disc, you always kind of got one, right? So you're not going to see me jumping around, but you're going to see me doing lots and lots of things you give me 30 minutes and you'll burn some calories, or you give me an hour and you'll really burn some calories. And it's just all yoga inspired fitness things.
Okay. So that is what you're selling then on your website, right?
Is that what you put back on Udemy?
The Udemy has it's technically the mommy bounce back, but I just repackaged it to not just talk about mamas.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then what I'm creating now on Teachable is just Thrive Online, a high intensity yoga inspired fitness thing, which has the mamas and it has other workouts. Okay.
So what's the biggest problem you're facing right now? Like, what's the biggest like struggle? Is it like figuring out how to run these things together, or is it like figuring out like how to promote that thing? Is it, do I sell this locally? Do I sell this? Like what's the biggest thing right now that's holding you back? Because it sounds like you've got a lot of pieces in play. Like, okay, forget the in-person yoga studio. You've got consistent content being created. You're creating this thing on Teachable that is going to be able to be marketed to these people, right? So like, where are you stuck? Like, what's causing, like, because you know this is how you want to scale. So like where are you frozen at right now that you can't move forward?
Well, I guess I'm not really sure where I'm stuck. I just know what I'm doing is not working, and that's not the answer that you wanted. So I did a 5-day challenge. Again, that was something in the Flip Your Life Live training to try to get us to sell some stuff. So I did a 5-day challenge. I had, technically it was 27, but one was me and one was a duplicate. So 25 people sign up. Of that, 5 people actually did all 5 trainings. Most of them did not. And nobody converted. And that made me really bummed. And you said, Jennifer, go reach out to all of them. So I finally got through all 25 of those. Yesterday, I sent them some Bonjoros, and of the 25, 16, 17 opened them, but nobody gave me any feedback.
Interesting.
So I guess this will probably go into, I've listened to y'all's podcast a lot, like those fears and things like that. It's I don't know if my content is too hard, if it's not hard enough. I know that based on what I've done online, my stuff is way harder. And because I don't like most of the stuff that I've seen online. It's not hard enough to, if I feel I'm looking for a workout, if I'm looking for something gentle, there's plenty of that, but there's not a good workout. And so I don't know if it's too hard, I don't know. So I guess that's where I'm stuck.
I think it's just a connection problem more than anything, because like 25 people signed up for the challenge. That shows they're interested, but then there was a disconnect and not one person sent you an email back after you said, but 16 opened the thing. That's amazing.
Correct. Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, so first of all, I have several thoughts, but my first thought is that that's not a very large sample size. Okay, so, like if it were 300 people and you said nobody wrote you back, like I would probably be a little bit more concerned. 25 people, I mean, who knows? This is like the busiest time of year for a lot of people. We just came off of a crazy month of May. We were in Disney for a week. We had dance recital practice. We had dance recital dress rehearsal. We had cheer evaluations. We had 2 nights of dance recital. We are now 3 nights into Vacation Bible School. Next week, we have science camp. We have golf camp this week. The week after that, we
have a lot of time to reply to the yoga instructor.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, if you went to 25 of my friends during this time of year, they're probably not answering you either because, we're just really busy. So I wouldn't say, okay, well, this clearly didn't work because 25 people didn't answer me. I don't think that you have enough data to know that. So that's the first thing I would say.
And 5 people finished it. Like, honestly, if you just think about it, like it's a small sample size, and if you put 25 people in a room and, 5 of them do it, that's pretty good. Like that's 80-20 rule, right? Like, I mean, 80 people in a room, 100 people in a room, 20 will actually finish, So it's like, don't look at it like a failure. There's a lot of valuable insight there. That something just didn't connect at the end when it was time to buy something.
That's part of my next thought. Okay, so tell me what was the challenge exactly?
I called it and I'm terrible with online stuff, so I can't wait to hear what I did wrong. So I called it the 5-day HIT Yoga Challenge, and it was a drip campaign. I think that's lingo, the industry lingo, where each day the participants were emailed a link to a video that was embedded on my website, because I was trying to get them that, for people to stay on the website. It was a YouTube video, and some of them were unlisted, some of them were public video embedded on my website where they could watch it. And so each day for 5 days, they got a video. And then on the 6th, and then like each day, I also tried to, sell them the membership. And then on the 6th day, I sent them a slightly longer video. Like all the videos were 20, 30 minutes. And on the 6th day, I think they got like a 42-minute video.
Okay, Jennifer, okay. Whoa, yeah, back the truck up. Okay, first of all, why do they need to buy anything? Because you're giving them all the stuff.
Right.
And
you have
second
to take
of all,
it away or they won't buy it. You can't just keep giving them stuff after the thing.
Second of all, what were you trying to sell them? And was it even related to high intensity yoga?
Yeah, I was trying to sell them into my membership that would have even more videos, just like the one that they got access to, so that they here's like 5 different workouts you can do, and if you join the community, you'll get even more workouts with me. You'll get and this was in part of the emails. I'll come into the community and we can work out live. Until it got too big, I figured we could do like Zoom meetings where we can see each other. And if it's just a handful of people at first, my husband can be there and he knows enough about yoga that he can be like, hey, so-and-so needs to do this or this person. And so then I can give them cues with him like in the background.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
Let's hit the pause button for just a minute.
Jocelyn and I are looking at each other like, okay, let's fix this. Okay.
Yeah, help me.
Okay. So for one thing, you think you sold them the same thing that the challenge was, but it wasn't. Okay. The thing that you were selling was you leading them live and being a part of a community. But you had this very sterile challenge of 42-minute videos where you were sending them emails. They had to click and watch them alone. Think why people join your yoga studio. They want to be led and they want to be around other people who love yoga. And you did not provide that for these people in the online environment, and that's why they didn't buy, right? They weren't just doing it for the high-intensity workout. They weren't just doing it for this cool structure that was different than everybody else. They basically were like, I want to do yoga with somebody and I want someone to tell me how to do it. And yeah, that's kind of what you're selling, but it was totally different from the strategy. Like, imagine if your challenge had been like this. Hey guys, we're going to make this challenge for 5 days. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do 8-minute workouts every morning live. I'm going to be there. And you do an 8-minute Tabata HIIT style workout that'll make them just barely sweat. And then at the end of it, you say, that's the end of the challenge. But I bet you feel better and you only had to show up live with me for 8 minutes a day. What if we could do this for real? I teach 20 and 30-minute classes all the time. We can crush it. Join the community led live by me. And now they have that challenge would have been a representation, an actual thing that you do in your actual community. And it would have simulated what you do for people in your yoga studio, right? Because people don't want an email campaign with videos. They can just go on YouTube and find videos.
Yeah. And so here's the thing too, Jennifer, is that usually with a challenge, what you want to do is sort of give them like the appetizer. And then you get them to purchase the main course. You gave them like a 4-course meal. and
you gave them the 4-course meal and the Blue Apron boxes to make the next 3 weeks of video of meals. You see what I'm saying? And like, but the main thing was I think 25 people signed up because they thought they were getting led by Jennifer sample of what they were going to do. And they didn't buy because it wasn't what they thought they were going to. Like you basically what they probably thought they were buying was more emailed videos. You see what I'm saying? So like, does that make sense? Are we overwhelming you? You sound confused. You got really quiet.
I'm thinking. You can't see all the smoke.
Oh, that was her head exploding.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. Right?
Okay, Jennifer's no longer with us due to information overload.
Yoga studio. But like, do you understand what we mean? Like, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just like you did a challenge, but the challenge wasn't exactly. It doesn't sound like what you were selling.
It didn't lead into your paid offer,
right? And also too, like challenges are like Jocelyn said, sampler platters. It's the guy that stands in front of the Japanese food restaurant at the mall with the bourbon chicken. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's what challenges are for. But you just like wow, like here, like I mean, you sent them. Did you say one of the videos was 42 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too overwhelming for a new person.
Your heart is in the right place. Like you were trying to give them something and be like, whoa, this is really cool. But the problem is you gave them more than they needed. Like if it were me, I would be like, oh, well, I can just do these videos. Like I don't even need anything else.
Yeah. It's just anytime you have a problem in alignment between a lead magnet, remember the lead magnet is the first step. If it's a 5-day challenge, like imagine someone who was totally out of shape and never done yoga before came to your yoga studio and you were like, get down in down dog for 42 minutes. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like you would kill them. You know what I'm saying? Like it would like get in warrior 3 and don't move until I look back at you. Like that's like not the first step of yoga, right? Like if I came into you and I was 200 pounds overweight, and I said, I really want to do yoga. I think this is the way that I can get back in shape and get my life back, right? Like, what would be the first thing you would tell me to do, honestly? Like, if I got 10 minutes to swing by, could you show me a couple things to get my feet wet? Well, what would you tell me?
I think that your offer was more for, like, advanced people, though, right?
But so is CrossFit. But, like I go to a CrossFit gym. But when a beginner comes in, like, there's nothing not advanced about CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
But you still don't kill them. You give them a PVC pipe instead of a bar. You see what I'm saying? So like even someone who wants advanced workouts, what would you do with them? Like in the first day, like if I was coming to your beginner 30-minute class, what would you do for me? What would you?
Well, we only do hour-long classes.
Okay,
but
what would you do? What would you do for me in an hour-long class?
Yeah, you do the beginner poses, which is basically what was in all of my sequences. They're all beginner-friendly poses, and you talk about the alignment a lot. You give a lot of cues, which I tried to do in the videos, and then you get the person comfortable with the names of the poses, the alignment, and then they move on to more challenging classes.
Okay, so here's what you should have done. You should have taken let's say your beginner class is 1 hour, right? Mm-hmm. You would take that into 10-minute videos, and they never should have saw anything over 10 minutes. Like they're at home, they're by themselves, they're overwhelmed. 10 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, 10 minutes the next day, 10 minutes the next. Now you know all the poses. Would you like to buy into our courses and try a longer class? Like that's the beginner version of online courses, right? Like you take that beginner part, they're not really there with you. So you can't assume you can do the same thing and like you break it apart, right? Like you've got to step back. You're having some curse of knowledge things right now. I can really feel it coming through like, no, everyone should do this hour class because this is how I do it and it's a better workout. That's fine, but you can't throw people into that online. They're home alone by themselves.
Well,
right?
And not to mention, most of them have probably never heard of you before.
Or done yoga.
So like,
they don't even know what HIIT means probably. They just thought yoga, sweet. And then they got in there and it was really hard.
Maybe I'm a person who is an advanced yoga person and I'm like, wow, I really want to do this workout, but I don't even know this person. Like they're just wanting to get a little taste of what you have to offer. And when you hit me with like a 35-minute video, like, what if I don't like it? Or what if...
And also, too, they're not invested enough to finish something like that. Like the reason I would watch a 30-minute video is because I paid money for it. Like if I pay for my subscription to Netflix, I'm going to find a show to watch, right? But if someone just told me the show, I'm not going to go out of my way to find it. You know what I mean? And also, too, did you say in the community you are doing these live?
Well, I don't have a community yet.
Well, but that's your plan, right? Like,
that's the vision, is to do like a Zoom call, like what we're doing, except with video, and then we work out together. So
okay, that has to be a part of it. Any challenges? It has to be a part. Like you have to make people understand what you do, right? Like it's one reason why we changed our format of our podcast. We don't talk to experts. We don't interview people who are writing books and stuff like that. We want to demonstrate how our community actually works. And the best way we can do that is to help someone, right? So even our podcast, even our free content is generated in a way that tells people that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you listen to this, you're like, wow, Shane and Jocelyn brought a real member on and they're helping them. Like, I want their help. So like I would, if I joined your challenge, like I'd be like, wow, Jennifer showed up for a Tabata or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you do a 4-minute yoga pose. And like, wow, that she showed up. That's really cool. I want more of this. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Someone told me one time, like, you never make non-customers feel satiated. Never make them feel. Non-customers should always feel hungry. Always. So like that's the problem here, I think, too, is like, one, it wasn't what you were selling, right? You were selling them something completely different than videos. You were actually selling them, lead live community, whatever. So there was a disconnect, and you like stuffed them. They were so overfull they wanted to puke and didn't even finish their meal, right? So like there was a disconnect there, and if we can fix that disconnect, like I would challenge you to do this again. But I would literally be like, remember what was those videos called, Jocelyn? 8-minute abs. Remember those from the 90s?
Kind of.
You remember those 8-minute abs that guy would come on and be 8-minute buns, 8-minute arms. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've done a few of those.
That's what I would do. I would say, hey, we're going to get on live every morning, for we're going to do an 8-minute workout or something like that, just whatever. And it's just really short, and like you use it to teach the best 10 poses, right? Like you do 2 poses a day for 5 days. You just take them back and forth through the poses. Super simple. And then like the last one, you pick up the intensity a little bit, and make it like a more like intense kind of, 15-minute workout or something. And then when it's over, they're more into it. They got it. They got to see you every morning. They got to hear you say like, hey, it's good to see you again, Jennifer. Hey, it's good to see you again, John. It's good to see you again, whoever. And it's like there's a feel there, and then they lose that. And when they lose that, they'll buy it back. That's how challenges should work. So I wouldn't give up on that. I think it's a great idea. I love that would be really cool. It's like what's the bike called? Peloton?
Yeah.
Like it's the same model, right? Like you can get on, you can take a live class, but you don't have to leave your house.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the yoga studio. Or if you find a personality that you connect with, you can do it with them, right there on the Zoom call, correct?
Yes.
So like I love the idea, and I know a guy that does this. I've told you this before. We have a buddy named Jeff McMahon. He lives up in Cincinnati, and he's probably listening right now. What's up, Jeff? And he kind of is the trainer for all the entrepreneur people and podcasters and stuff. And like he does virtual classes like all the time, even one-on-one and stuff like that. So there's definitely a model. People are definitely doing this. You just have to kind of connect those challenges better.
Gotcha.
Okay, Jennifer. So tell us what is making you feel overwhelmed about this strategy?
So my top three, I'll give you my top three. What happens if I say, okay, I'm going to do this Zoom video every day for, I don't know, 5 days, 6 days, and nobody shows up during the workout? Do I still do the workout as if there was somebody there? And then the people that have the link, they can watch it later. Then that's like, I don't know, one. Two is, what possible time of day can I possibly say every day I'm going to give you 10 minutes of my time? And and then I guess it's just two. There's not three. There's just two.
You're so overwhelmed you lost count.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do number one first.
Okay.
Yes, you would just go ahead and do it. Right. You can actually do these in different ways. Like if you did it in a different way, like maybe you could do the challenge even on YouTube Live instead of Zoom. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because then you just do it live, and then if someone finds it, like, that's cool because you just got more leads. And if they, it's not a paid challenge, so you really don't care that it's broadcasting for free. It might actually find you new people, right? And then if they did not show up live, they would click to it, and it would be there, ready to go. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think YouTube Live would be a better thing for free content like this. Like, you could put hit yoga challenge day 1. Hit yoga challenge day 2. Like, so you're still emailing them, you're still getting them to come, but they can come live and they can participate in the chat. And they can do things like that if you want to.
So I would just take one of the videos that you're already doing, and I've done some HIIT training before. So is it basically like sequences that you do, like so many exercises together?
No, it's not the interval. It's only one eye. I don't know. It's just high intensity. I'm not doing intervals as much. It's just high intensity. Honestly, it's a lot like a power class. It's just not hot. And there's a little bit of psychology there, at least here at my studio. If you say power, then people are like, oh, I can't do that.
Right.
But the oh gosh, this is going to make me sound kind of silly. What people are searching for is that high intensity, that sort of workout, but they don't want maybe the jumping up and down. And so it's just yoga.
So would you hold poses for a long time or something like that?
Yeah, or you do poses dynamically. So anytime you're working your balance. So if you're moving, Shane, you said you've done some yoga. I don't know if you've done it. Jocelyn, you've done stair steps, so you could totally do this. It's just moving between postures with control. Yeah. That's really, really hard because you're having to use your balance, which incorporates your core muscles and your glutes and all that kind of stuff. So it's a high end. Oh gosh, I shouldn't use the word in the definition.
I know what you're saying. It's like get the high intensity workout you want without the impact.
With no impact,
basically. It's perfectly marketable. But the real key is the live component. Like that's the thing.
So I wonder if you shouldn't change your language a little bit to high intensity, low impact.
Yeah,
I've thought about that, but then when I look up high intensity, low impact, I'm like, if people see that and then they see what I'm doing, they're going to be like, this girl's crazy.
That's okay, though. That's a total assumption that you're putting on. You don't know that. You do not know that. There's no way you can know that.
So try it out and see what happens.
Yeah. You can't just say you're trying to think like the small group of people who've walked into your studio and left, and not like the people that stayed because they thought it was cool. Like that's cursive knowledge at its finest, right there. Is I know this. And when they know it, they'll leave. Like, that's not true. There's no way you can possibly know that. What people are looking, if someone types in like high intensity yoga, right, and they find you, and then you say it's high intensity, low impact, just because it's hard doesn't mean they're going to freak out and leave, right? Like, I don't think it was because it was hard that people didn't finish the thing. I just think it was too long. Like, not everybody wants to work out for an hour, and a lot of people at home may just want a 20-minute workout on, in the morning. They may not want a big hour-long thing. You know what I'm saying?
And I think we have to be careful because we're making a lot of assumptions.
Yes, a lot of assumptions. We're all making a lot of assumptions.
The thing about it is they wanted to see if they liked what you had to offer. You gave them a huge banquet of stuff to process through.
And they didn't even do it.
And, as a result, I feel like they were kind of like, this is cool, but like, whoa, I don't even know you.
It's like, I don't even know if it was cool because I'm not even going to try that. You know what I'm saying? Like they looked at it and got scared, basically.
Instead, let's give them some more bite-sized pieces that are more similar to your paid offer and see if that.
And I think you're thinking, I think you've gone SEO crazy. I hear a little bit of that too. Like, well, not exactly the right people are searching for this exact right word. But that doesn't matter. What they're really looking for is probably just yoga at first. Like that's the core, right? They're looking for somebody to teach them yoga live at home. That's the whole gist of what you're really selling. No one cares about your method. You know, have you ever noticed that Jocelyn and I don't, even on our sales page, don't really go into what's in the Flip Your Life Blueprint? You ever noticed that before?
I did notice that.
We never talk about it because if I told you what was in there, it would overwhelm a beginner so much that they would pass out. Right. So for all you beginners out there, start passing out. like if you got in there and really saw what it takes, if I threw all that out at you at first, you would be so overwhelmed you'd never try. But if you came to me and said, well, here's where I am, I've got an idea, I even made a product, then I would look at you and say, let's build your website. I wouldn't say, let's go build an audience or let's get traffic or let's start ads or let's do SEO research. I would just say, hey, man, you need a website. Like that, like it's the next step's the most important step. It's not all the steps, right? So I think you're trying too hard to regurgitate all of your past experience onto these people in that 5-day challenge, and it's just so overwhelming they don't even try. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, all right, so imagine this. Imagine if your whole thing was the 4 minute Tabata. I picked Tabata because it's 4 minutes, right? I just say for those of you guys that are out there, it's like you work 20 seconds and you rest 10, whatever. It's totally, you can plant that on almost any workout scheme. But like if you did something like that was like a 10-minute workout, let's just say, like that's not overwhelming. Hey guys, we're going to do 2 poses a day, 10 minutes a day. You can do that. And then at the end, you tell them there's more inside and show up next Monday and you'll do the workout. And it's like my CrossFit gym, sometimes the coach won't even tell us what the workout is until we get there because she's afraid if she posts it, we won't show up.
Yeah, that used to happen to me.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So like
I'm not doing that.
I know, but you are doing that online. That's exactly what you did. Right? Like you're like, here's the 42-minute death workout. You know, like instead of, hey guys, I'm not going to tell you how long we're going to go today, so just keep moving or whatever, you know? Now, as for the other question, where am I going to find 10 minutes? Last I checked, you was running to the zoo making chimpanzee noises with your kids.
Oh, no, but no.
You have time to find 10 minutes somewhere.
It wasn't the finding of the 10 minutes, but from what I understood is you wanted it to be the same time every day. And that's where I was like, crap, what is the same time every day where I'm doing something the same time? That's where the disconnect was. Because if I'm going to do a challenge, I imagine we got to meet up at, let's just say 10 o'clock Eastern time every single day. And that's where I was like,
make a time. As if it's important enough, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse.
Yep.
Like you can find the time. Like it's your schedule. It's your calendar. I would guess it would probably be early too, by the way. Like, I mean, you can catch people before work. So maybe you do a 6 a.m. challenge to get people real fired up. Or you do a 9 p.m. challenge and you do it at night. Like we have webinars at 9 p.m. sometimes. Look at our member calls. Do you think we want to do a member call at 9 o'clock on a Sunday? No, but we do it because we know people need it. And we know they'll show up for it. So like sometimes you just have to pick a time and you have to do it. It's not, you can find that part. That's the easiest part of the whole equation to figure out is when you're going to do it. Just look at your calendar and say, all right, next week I'm going to do a challenge and I'm going to do it every day at 8 o'clock a.m. Forget it, whatever, because it's not forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like not forever.
Would that turn people away if it was at my house? Because at like 6 a.m, I'm going to be at my house. I'm not going to be.
No
one cares.
I don't think it will.
No one cares.
I watch workout videos all the time, like on YouTube, and people are in their bedroom. People are in their living area.
You watch our member calls twice a month, and we're sitting in our bedroom.
Yeah, but y'all aren't doing yoga. And let's be honest, like yoga has a fair amount of, what is the word I'm looking for? Stereotype expectations. And that's probably like into one of the questions later. That's why I was like, because my house is not decorated. I've got 2 little kids, like there's probably green boogers on the wall somewhere.
On the last member call that we had, our daughter came and started changing into her pajamas.
I saw that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right behind it. And I was like, get out of here. And like, there was dogs running in here. Like, no one cares as long as you give them what they want. I mean, you can lock the door or you can, and also too, like, I'll tell you another story. I was in Michael Hyatt's, I got to tour Michael Hyatt's office a couple weeks ago, right? Who's a online guy. right? So they have these things in their offices called podcast closets. Okay. And they use them for webinars and podcasts. Anybody at any time can go in one of these closets, shut the door, and do it. And they've already got all the stuff set up for podcasts and webinars, right? They made it proportion, like there's decorations on the back of the wall, right? It's so funny. Like all the decorations were smaller, like there was paintings and pictures and stuff, and it looked really tiny. But it was done in a way, perspective. It made it look like they were in a huge room. You see what I'm saying? So it was totally an illusion. They were in a big conference room with wall stuff, but it was hilarious because they had thought like, well, who cares where we are? We'll just make it look like we want. And we interviewed someone a few weeks ago on this program who teaches English to students in China, and she does it in her laundry room.
Yeah,
I heard that one. Points at the white wall, and she's got it looking like a schoolroom.
Yeah.
So I promise you, one Saturday, you could go clear one wall in some room of your house that you can shut a door
and make it look amazingly decorated.
Like you're in a yoga studio. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could make it look however you wanted.
So that's not showing up every day. It's just doing it one Saturday.
I'm talking about you pick one wall in your house that becomes the yoga wall and point your camera at that. And nobody will even know you're in there. It doesn't matter. Like you can make it look as pretty as you want. You can make it look as, not as pretty as you want. Like it doesn't matter. All that matters is what's behind you on the camera. Like it doesn't matter if it's in this big like room. And I still don't think people will care. They'll say a yoga mat and somebody working out and guide them through a workout. Some people, here's another assumption we're making. You're assuming people care. Like me and Jocelyn don't really care about stuff like that. Some people will care, but you just don't want the ones that don't care. You want the ones who care more about, is this person real and authentic, and will they show up for me when they say they will? And are they going to lead me through this process? If they will, I'll follow them. And everybody else who doesn't, there's no stereotype. I know, like all the stereotypes in yoga. I'm 6 foot tall and 260 pounds, and I do yoga. Is that stereotypical? Probably not. There's somebody out there that will follow you just the way you are. And if you want to make it a little prettier, you can. Like you don't have to have a film studio or a yoga studio or anything like that. Like that's not important. That's not what you're selling. You know what I'm saying? That's the Instagram model, 30-year-old millennial Instagram yoga person. Let them go worry about what their camera looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like you're selling the moms. You're selling the mom that's doing yoga with you is probably doing it in her bedroom floor, or she may be in the laundry room hiding from her children so she can do yoga. So she will probably appreciate that, that it is so real. So I guess just challenge those. You can't worry about what it looks like. You just can't. You just got to do it. You just got to make it happen and make it live and make it real. And I think people actually probably like it better.
Yep.
I hope that makes sense.
Yep. Get over myself. Yep.
All right, Jennifer, we've had a really fun time talking to you today and trying to figure out what your next steps are going to be. And fortunately, we are almost out of time. But before we go, we'd like to ask everyone, what is one thing that you plan to do based on what we talked about here today?
I will relaunch my challenge to include, I guess, 3 to 5 days of live mini trainings, no more than 10 minutes, and try to get people into my membership that way.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's good because you can use the same process and just teach it differently and try it again. And I would really invite those people that did it the first time. They'll probably sign back up and they'll probably do it this time. You can say, I revamped it. It's all new. It's going to be much easier and you're going to love it even more. Okay?
Got it.
All right, guys, that wraps up another episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. What a great conversation with Jennifer about her business. Man, it can be easy to get overwhelmed or even discouraged and frustrated when you're out there worrying about your online business, trying to make something work, and you get a little success and then it goes away and you just don't know what to do next to make it happen. And that's what the Flip Your Life community is all about. We would love to help you with your next steps inside the community, on our member calls, and in our training area. You can check out everything we have to offer for the Flip Your Life community at fliplifestyle.com/flipyourlife. We'd love to have you in there. We'd love to see you on our next member call, and maybe we'll even be able to talk to you on an upcoming podcast. So until next time, Get out there, take action, do whatever it takes. Live your life.
Bye.
I don't have that quite yet. I was shooting a video today and I was outside and allergies started hitting me. So here I was like about to die. I love nature.
You could have just told a sad story and acted like it was making you cry. You got to use what God gives you. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.